When stress or tragedy enters your life, the very first and most important step is to acknowledge the reality of what has happened. Too often, people try to deny their struggles, bury their pain, or pretend that they are not affected. But denial does not erase the weight that sits on your chest. It only delays the healing. Acknowledgement is not weakness. It is the foundation of strength. By admitting that you are under pressure, by facing the fact that something painful has occurred, you give yourself permission to deal with it honestly and productively. Think about it like this. If a doctor refuses to diagnose the illness, there is no way to prescribe the right treatment. In the same way, if you refuse to name the stress, the tragedy, or the hurt, you cannot truly move forward. Acknowledging reality is not about surrendering or giving up. It is about choosing clarity over confusion. It is about saying, yes, this has happened. Yes, I feel the weight of it. But now that I see it clearly, I can take steps to rise above it. Many people believe strength means acting unshaken, but true strength means allowing yourself to feel and still choosing to stand. When you are honest with yourself, you stop wasting energy pretending and start investing energy in healing and growth. Imagine carrying a heavy bag on your shoulders, but refusing to admit it is there. You keep walking, ignoring the strain, telling yourself you are fine. With every step, the weight digs deeper into your body until exhaustion breaks you down. But if you stop for a moment and admit, this bag is heavy, you now have the chance to adjust it, lighten it, or ask for help carrying it. Acknowledgement does not make the load disappear, but it makes it manageable. It allows you to deal with life as it is, not as you wish it were. Tragedy in particular can leave people in shock, frozen between disbelief and sorrow. The mind resists accepting the loss or the pain because it feels too overwhelming. But healing begins the moment you allow yourself to say, this hurts, and it is real. That simple act opens the door to resilience. Pain unspoken becomes poison, but pain acknowledged becomes a teacher. By naming it, you begin to take back control over your own story. Acknowledging reality also builds humility. It reminds us that life is bigger than our plans, that no matter how prepared we are, storms can still hit. Yet humility is not weakness. It is the soil where wisdom grows. When you accept reality, you learn lessons that denial keeps hidden. You discover patience in the waiting, courage in the facing, and gratitude in the surviving. Think of the strongest structures in the world: bridges, skyscrapers, monuments. Before they stand tall, engineers must first measure the ground, test the soil, and acknowledge its weaknesses. Without that honest assessment, the foundation would crumble under stress. In the same way, when you acknowledge your struggles instead of ignoring them, you lay the groundwork for a stronger future. Some people fear acknowledgement because they think it will trap them in negativity. But the truth is, ignoring pain traps you far more than facing it. Acceptance does not mean agreement, it means recognition. It means saying, this is where I am today, but it is not where I will remain forever. That shift in perspective transforms acknowledgement from a moment of despair into a moment of empowerment. When stress rises or tragedy falls, do not close your eyes to it. Face it with honesty. Call it by its name. Cry if you must. Admit when it hurts. Speak it out loud if that helps. Because the weight you acknowledge is the weight you can lift. The storm you admit is the storm you can prepare to withstand. Reality is not your enemy. It is your starting point. And once you start with truth, you can build a future on strength, clarity, and unshakable resilience. You cannot always control the events of life, but you always have the power to control your response. That truth separates those who are defeated by stress and tragedy from those who rise above it. The The storm may rage outside, but what matters most is the calm you create within. Many people make the mistake of thinking control means controlling every detail of life, but that is impossible. What you can control, however, is your mindset, your choices, and your reactions. Stress may arrive suddenly, but you decide whether to let it consume you or to face it with strength and discipline. Tragedy may strike hard, but you decide whether to allow it to define you or to let it shape you into something stronger. Think of a sailor in the middle of the ocean. He cannot control the wind or the waves, but he can adjust his sails. He cannot calm the sea, but he can steady his ship. Life is exactly like that. You will encounter storms, but you must remember that your response will always be your rudder. Panic makes the ship capsize. Discipline keeps it afloat. Every time you choose patience over anger, clarity over confusion, hope over despair, you are proving that your response matters more than the situation itself. Controlling your response is not about pretending you are unaffected. It is about managing your emotions in a way that empowers you rather than weakens you. If you allow fear, bitterness, or negativity to lead you, stress will magnify and tragedy will paralyze you. But if you choose to pause, breathe, and act with wisdom, you turn the same situation into an opportunity to grow. It is not easy, and no one is born with this skill. It is learned, practiced, and strengthened through every challenge you face. The more you practice self-control, the more powerful your responses become. One of the greatest mistakes people make is reacting impulsively under stress. Words spoken in anger, decisions made in panic, actions taken without thought, they all create more damage than the original problem itself. Controlling your response means slowing down the urge to act on emotion and replacing it with the discipline to act on reason. It means understanding that you may not have chosen what happened, but you always choose what happens next. And what happens next is determined by your ability to respond, not react. Tragedy tests this principle even more deeply. When life deals you an unexpected loss, you may feel like the ground has been pulled out from under you. In that moment, your response becomes the difference between drowning in sorrow and gradually learning to stand again. You cannot control the fact that pain has visited your life, but you can control whether you allow it to take away your future. Some people collapse under tragedy and never rise again, while others use it as a source of strength, saying, "This may have broken me today, but it will not define me forever." That choice of response is the essence of resilience. Consider history's great achievers. Many of them faced crushing defeats, painful losses, or overwhelming stress. Yet what set them apart was not the absence of tragedy, but their response to it. They trained themselves to focus on solutions rather than problems, on the future rather than the past, on growth rather than defeat. This is not just inspirational talk. It is a principle of survival and success. Every human being will face stress and loss, but not everyone will respond in a way that leads to healing and progress. That part is in your hands. Remember, this control is not about power over the outside world. It is about mastery of the inner world. You may not silence the storm, but you can quiet your heart. You may not erase the tragedy, but you can guide your response. And every time you choose discipline over chaos, calm over panic, courage over despair, you are rewriting your story from one of defeat to one of victory. Stress and tragedy will always come, but your response will always decide whether they crush you or create you. Strength is not built in comfort. It is born in the very moments when life presses hardest against you. When you face stress, when you walk through tragedy, you may feel like the weight is too heavy, like the struggle will consume you. But what you must understand is that within that struggle lies the seed of your greatest strength. Pressure does not come to destroy you, it comes to shape you. Fire does not appear to weaken you, it appears to refine you. Without resistance, there can be no resilience. Without struggle, there can be no growth. Think of the seed planted deep in the soil. In the darkness, under pressure, surrounded by dirt, it seems buried, but that same weight forces it to push upward to fight for the light. If there were no struggles, the seed would never break through and the flower would never bloom. Stress and tragedy are like that soil. They may cover you, they may push down on you, but they are also the very environment that allows you to rise, to grow, to bloom into something stronger. In moments of struggle, many ask, why me? Why this pain? Why now? But the real question is, what is this teaching me? What strength is being formed within me right now? Every tear, every sleepless night, every battle fought in silence becomes a lesson written into your character. Stress teaches patience. Tragedy teaches gratitude. Struggle teaches endurance. If you run from the struggle, you run from the very qualities that build greatness within you. Consider the process of making steel. Raw iron is too weak to stand the test of time. To transform it, it must be placed in the fire, hammered and shaped. Only then does it become strong enough to build bridges, towers, and tools that last generations. In the same way, your character is forged in fire. Without hardship, you remain untested. But when you face the flames and endure, you come out unbreakable, capable of withstanding far more than you ever imagined. Many people see struggle only as suffering, but the wise see it as training. Just as athletes push their bodies beyond comfort to gain strength, life pushes your spirit beyond ease to grow resilience. Every challenge is like a weight in the gym. At first, it feels unbearable. But over time, the very weight that once felt impossible becomes the reason your muscles grow stronger. The same is true for your heart, your mind, and your soul. Stress and tragedy build an inner strength that nothing else can provide. It is also important to remember that strength in struggle does not mean you never feel pain. Strength does not mean smiling through heartbreak or pretending the weight is not heavy. Strength means carrying the weight even when it hurts. It means standing again after being knocked down. It means moving forward with scars, because those scars prove that you survived, and survival is its own form of power. Look at the lives of those who inspire you most. Almost every story of greatness is also a story of hardship. They did not succeed because life was easy for them. They succeeded because they allowed struggle to shape them into people of resilience, vision, and discipline. Stress did not stop them. Tragedy did not end them. Instead, both became the training ground where their character was built. When you are in the middle of struggle, it may not feel like growth. It may feel like breaking. But sometimes breaking is necessary to rebuild into something stronger. The pressure you feel today is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a transformation. Just as coal under immense pressure becomes a diamond, your struggle is shaping you into something rare, valuable, and unbreakable. So when stress weighs heavy, do not despise it. When tragedy shakes you, do not give up. These moments are the gym where your soul is trained, the fire where your strength is forged, the soil where your future is planted. Struggle is not the enemy. It is the sculptor carving resilience into your spirit. One day you will look back and see that the very battles you thought would break you were the battles that built you. When hardship strikes, the natural instinct is to focus on the pain. Stress pulls your mind toward everything that feels wrong. A tragedy traps your heart in everything that was lost. It is easy to dwell on the question, why me? But if you remain stuck in that question, you give your pain all the power. Focusing on purpose instead of pain is what allows you to reclaim control. Purpose redirects your energy. It shifts you from being a victim of circumstances to being a student of life, from asking why it happened to asking what you can do with it. Pain in itself has no meaning, but when you attach purpose to it, pain transforms into a teacher. Imagine two people running the same distance. One is being chased against their will. The other is training for a marathon. The physical strain is identical, but one experiences panic while the other gains strength. The difference is purpose. When you place purpose on your pain, you begin to see struggle not as punishment, but as preparation. Stress becomes training for resilience, and tragedy becomes an opportunity to deepen your understanding of life. Think of history's greatest innovators, leaders, and teachers. Many of them carried wounds of deep tragedy. They lost loved ones, endured rejection, or suffered failure. But rather than letting that pain define them, they turned it into fuel for their purpose. They asked themselves, how can I use this? What can I learn from this? How can this make me better, not bitter? By focusing on purpose, they turned their darkest nights into guiding lights for themselves and for others. Pain was real, but purpose gave it meaning. It is easy to let pain convince you that life is against you. Stress whispers that you are overwhelmed. Tragedy screams that you are finished. But purpose reminds you that there is more ahead. Purpose says, this is not the end of your story. This is part of your training. When you understand that every challenge holds a lesson, every trial holds a seed of growth, you begin to look at your pain with different eyes. You stop asking how to escape it and start asking how to evolve through it. This does not mean ignoring your pain or pretending it does not exist. Purpose does not erase sorrow, it guides you through it. When you lose someone, when you face failure, when life feels unbearable, the grief is real. But even grief can carry purpose. It can remind you of the value of life, the importance of love, the urgency of time. Purpose gives shape to pain, directing it toward wisdom, compassion, and strength. Without it, pain simply consumes. With it, pain transforms. Think of an athlete injured in training. The pain of recovery is long and difficult. But if they see the purpose to rebuild stronger, to prevent future harm, they endure it with patience. Life works the same way. The injuries of the soul, the stresses of the heart, the tragedies that break you open, can all become part of a greater purpose if you allow them. Instead of saying, why did this happen to me? Try saying, what can this teach me? How can this prepare me for what's next? That shift in focus gives you direction in moments where despair tries to blind you. Even in everyday stress, purpose matters. If you see work as only a burden, stress will drain you. But if you see it as a stepping stone toward your dreams, stress becomes endurance training. If you see challenges only as obstacles, they exhaust you. But if you see them as opportunities to sharpen your skills, they energize you. Purpose changes the lens through which you view every situation. It does not remove the difficulty, but it gives it meaning, and meaning fuels perseverance. Pain without purpose leaves you bitter, but pain with purpose makes you better. Every scar can either remind you of defeat or remind you of survival. Every setback can either chain you to the past or prepare you for the future. You have the power to decide. Focusing on purpose allows you to lift your eyes beyond the hurt and see the horizon of growth. So when stress presses down or tragedy knocks you to your knees, do not waste all your energy on why me. Shift your focus to what now? Let your pain push you toward patience. Your struggle push you toward resilience. Your loss push you toward gratitude. Purpose gives your suffering direction, and once your suffering has direction, it can no longer destroy you. It becomes the very fuel that carries you into the next chapter of your life. No human being is built to carry the weight of stress and tragedy alone. When life becomes heavy, isolation can feel like the safest response, but it is also the most dangerous. Pain often whispers to you, keep it to yourself. No one will understand. No one can help. Yet that voice leads only to deeper loneliness and despair. The truth is, healing becomes possible when you allow others to walk beside you. Building a support system is not a sign of weakness. It is one of the greatest strengths you can develop. Every culture, every community, every family has traditions of gathering together during hardship. People instinctively know that sorrow is lighter when it is shared. Think of how grief is expressed after a loss. People come together, they sit in silence, they offer words, they cry side by side. Nothing changes the tragedy itself, but the simple act of being together reminds the heart that it is not alone. Human connection cannot erase stress or undo pain, but it creates a network strong enough to carry what you cannot bear on your own. Some people hesitate to reach out because they fear being a burden. They convince themselves they must appear strong, independent, untouched. But carrying everything in silence only deepens the struggle. Imagine a person carrying a heavy log on their back. They stagger, stumble, and fall under the weight. Yet if 4 others step forward and each take a corner, the same log becomes manageable. That is what a support system does. It doesn't remove the weight of life, but it distributes it across shoulders willing to help. Building a support system requires courage. It means being vulnerable enough to admit, I need help. It means trusting others with your fears and wounds. That trust may feel risky, but the risk is worth it. True support is not about judgment, it is about presence. Sometimes the people around you may not have the answers. They may not be able to fix your situation. But often, what you need most is not a solution. It is simply someone willing to stand with you in the storm. The sound of another voice, the presence of another heart, the reminder that you are not invisible, can become a lifeline in your darkest moments. A strong support system is not built overnight. It grows through relationships nurtured with honesty and care. It means surrounding yourself with people who want to see you rise, people who speak truth when you need guidance, people who lift you when you stumble. It also means being that kind of person for others. Support is a circle. You give it and you receive it. By offering encouragement and understanding to others in their struggles, you strengthen the very bonds that will hold you when your own trials come. Stress often convinces people to isolate, but connection is the antidote. When you speak your struggles aloud, you release some of their power over you. When you listen to the wisdom, or even just the presence of others, you gain new perspectives and renewed strength. Your pain may feel unique, but someone else has walked a path of struggle too. Their story may not erase yours, but it can light a lamp along your way. Tragedy especially demands the comfort of community. Loss is too heavy for one soul to bear. Sharing memories, sharing tears, sharing silence. These are the ways we survive what feels unbearable. A strong support system can remind you of hope when you cannot see it yourself. It can carry your faith when your own feels broken. It can believe in your tomorrow when today has crushed you. Do not underestimate the healing power of connection. Science confirms what the heart already knows. Human beings are wired for relationship. Stress levels lower when you share your burdens. Emotional wounds heal faster when you feel seen and supported. Life was never meant to be lived in isolation. Even the strongest among us need a hand to hold, a voice to encourage, a presence to steady us. So when stress overwhelms or tragedy strikes, resist the temptation to retreat into silence. Reach out. Call a friend. Speak to family. Seek guidance from a mentor or join a community that understands your struggle. Build your circle before you need it, and lean on it when the weight feels unbearable. A support system does not erase the storm, but it gives you an anchor. And when the winds of life howl against you, that anchor can be the difference between sinking and surviving. When life presses you with stress or breaks you with tragedy, it is natural to want quick relief. The mind begs for the storm to pass. The heart pleads for the pain to end. But the truth is, strength is not built in a single moment of escape. It is built in the discipline to keep moving forward day after day. Faith and discipline together create the bridge that carries you from despair to recovery, from weakness to strength. Faith gives you the belief that tomorrow can be better, and discipline gives you the structure to walk steadily toward that tomorrow, even when emotions pull you back. Moving forward with faith does not mean ignoring reality. It means choosing to believe that reality is not finished writing your story. Stress and tragedy are chapters, not the whole book. Faith allows you to hold on, to hope even when your vision is clouded by sorrow. It tells you that the darkness is temporary, that healing is possible, that strength is growing even when you cannot feel it. Without faith, tragedy feels final. With faith, tragedy becomes a test that you can endure and overcome. But faith alone is not enough. Without discipline, faith remains only a thought. Discipline is the daily action that proves your belief. It is the decision to rise each morning, even when the weight of yesterday is still on your shoulders. It is the commitment to do the small things that rebuild your strength, exercising when you do not feel like it, studying when your mind is distracted, working when motivation is low, practicing gratitude when sorrow dominates. These daily acts may feel small, but they create momentum. Step by step, discipline moves you forward until one day you look back and realize how far you have come. Think of a builder constructing a bridge over a deep river. The first stone placed seems insignificant, but without it, the bridge would never exist. Day after day, stone after stone, the builder works. Progress is slow, often invisible, but consistent. Eventually, the bridge is complete, and what once seemed impossible is now a path forward. That is what discipline does in the face of stress and tragedy. Every small act of persistence becomes a stone in the bridge that carries you from brokenness to strength. Moving forward with discipline also means resisting destructive habits. Stress tempts you to escape through harmful choices, and tragedy can lure you toward bitterness or despair. Discipline is the guardrail that keeps you on the path of growth. It is the voice that reminds you, do not quit here. Do not drown in what hurts. Keep going. Discipline does not remove the pain, but it prevents the pain from controlling you. It transforms survival into progress. Faith and discipline work best together. Faith tells you to trust the process even when you cannot see the result. Discipline ensures that you keep showing up to the process day after day. Faith gives you vision. Discipline gives you structure. Faith whispers, you will heal. Discipline answers, then today I will take one more step. Faith says, the storm will end. Discipline responds, until then, I will hold my ground. Every person who has risen from tragedy or overcome immense stress has walked with these two companions. They did not leap instantly from brokenness to victory. They believed and they acted. They trusted in what could be, and they disciplined themselves to move toward it consistently. It is not glamorous and it is not easy, but it is the surest path forward. In time, faith begins to strengthen your heart, and discipline strengthens your habits. Together, they reshape your life. Slowly, the pain becomes less sharp, the stress becomes less overwhelming, and the tragedy becomes part of your past instead of your present. You begin to see the value in what you endured, and you recognize the strength that was born within you because you chose not to quit. So when stress surrounds you, When tragedy shakes your world, do not wait for instant relief. Anchor yourself in faith and commit yourself to discipline. Believe in tomorrow and act today. The combination of hope and consistent action will carry you through storms that once seemed impossible to survive. Pain may visit, but it will not own you. Stress may test you, but it will not defeat you. Tragedy may wound you, but with faith and discipline, you will rise again stronger, wiser, and ready to face whatever comes next